Straight ahead on CCX News, a classroom in Plymouth turns into a courtroom.
It's really important for us as judges to get out into the community.
Plus, a day to show appreciation to teachers, how a school in Golden Valley did that, and more. And an event in Brooklyn Park to help take the ache out of arthritis. CCX News starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us. We will have those stories in just a moment. But first, the uncertain picture over light rail funding has become a little more clear.
The 5-county board that funds transit projects has reached a tentative deal to dissolve. The reason, counties such as Dakota believe it was putting more money into the partnership than it was getting out of it. However, the deal to dissolve the county's Transit Improvement Board could allow Hennepin County to increase its sales tax for transit projects like the Bottineau and Southwest lines. It would help keep the projects moving despite uncertainty at the state level.
The Bottineau's future kind of rides along with the transportation bill. We made some progress this week in talking about how the local partnership around transit can maybe evolve to something that allow for that final 10% of money for local money for Bottineau. So I'm excited by the prospect. I think we're going to make some progress. I think we're going to get a deal done with the railroad and hopefully stay on schedule.
An aide to Commissioner Opat tells CCX News that Hennepin County could fund half of the $1.5 billion Bottineau light rail project if the state doesn't come through with funding. The federal government would pay for the rest.
Meanwhile, the regional planning body for the Twin Cities could get a significant overhaul under a bill approved by the Minnesota Senate. The Metropolitan Council is currently made up of 17 people appointed by Governor Mark Dayton. However, under the bill approved by the Republican-led Senate, the Met Council would instead be composed of elected officials. Backers of the bill believe the change would make representatives of the Met Council more accountable. Opponents believe local elected officials on the council would face conflicts of interest. The Metropolitan Council oversees such things as transit projects and land use planning.
In political news, challengers are already lining up to run against Republican Congressman Eric Paulsen. Businessman Dean Phillips of Deep Haven has announced he will run as a Democrat in his bid for Congress. Phillips is an heir to a liquor fortune. His family built the more than 100-year-old Phillips Distilling Company. He's also the grandson of the late Pauline Phillips, who founded the advice column Dear Abby. A high school in the Northwest Metro got an inside look at how a courtroom works today.
Judges from the Minnesota Supreme Court were on the Wayzata High School campus participating in a real trial. The High Court decides this twice a year, and as Eric Nelson found out, it's a way to engage the community with the legal system.
The classroom became a courtroom today at Wayzata High School.
The Equal Protection Clause of the United States Constitution prohibits purposeful racial discrimination in selecting jurors.
The 7 justices on the Minnesota Supreme Court heard oral arguments about potential racial bias involving the dismissal of a juror in an actual trial.
I think the state's position is essentially that wasn't about race. It may have happened because of his race.
Wayzata students jammed into the school auditorium to get an up-close look at how the wheels of justice turn.
We think you're awesome, but you can't sit on this jury because one time a white cop pulled a gun on you when you were sitting in your car while black.
After the oral arguments, the kids also had a chance to ask the judges questions.
How do you guys decide which case is more important over another case when you guys are deciding which cases to look at?
How much money do you guys make?
Always a couple of stand-up comedians in every high school, and they seem to find their way to the microphone.
This was a unique and rare chance for students to mingle with Supreme Court judges.
It's really fueled our passion for law and makes us want to continue that.
Courts in Minnesota don't exist for judges and lawyers. Courts belong to the people.
The moment was a snapshot in time for the students, especially those on Wayzata's mock trial team.
It was great to listen to their answers, and we really appreciated, getting to hear from them on a more like personal basis.
As for the judges,
It's really cool.
well, they enjoyed themselves too.
And it's really important for us as judges to get out into the community and talk with the people about what we do in the justice system and why the justice system, why the court system matters to all Minnesotans.
We do enjoy the part of taking off the robe. We take a recess. We go out and speak directly to the students.
At Wayzata High School, I'm Eric Nelson, CCX News.
Concerns that they might have. Students on Wayzata's mock trial team later got lunch for the judges and took the judges to some of their classrooms.
A unique housing concept in Maple Grove now awaits final approval of the City Council. A developer is proposing to build more than 60 single-family homes that would be rented rather than owned. This kind of development would be a first for Maple Grove. The 1- and 2-story homes would be located northeast of the Arbor Lakes shopping area. Estimated rents would range from $1,800 to $2,300. The homes would be surrounded by a significant number of amenities, including a clubhouse and fitness room, outdoor fire pits, and a golf putting green.
In Brooklyn Park and in Brooklyn Center, there is a new grocery store on wheels.
You can get fruits, vegetables, lunch meat, breads. So it's a lot to, I mean, it can help you out if you can't get to the store. You know, they got a lot to pick from.
The Twin Cities Mobile Market is now making stops outside the Crossings senior living facility in Brooklyn Center, as well as at Huntington Place Apartments in Brooklyn Park. The grocery store on wheels offers a selection of healthy foods at prices below market rate for neighborhoods where residents may face barriers to getting fresh food.
Sections of Brooklyn Center and Brooklyn Park are considered food deserts by the USDA, which means you have neighborhoods where you have a larger number of low-income folks and there's no grocery store nearby or readily accessible.
The mobile market is open to everyone, and it accepts cash, credit, and debit, as well as SNAP and EBT forms of payment. You can see where the bus stops each week by visiting twincitiesmobilemarket.org. Today is National Teacher Appreciation Day.
But Breck School in Golden Valley is taking things one step further by honoring its entire staff. Here's Sonia Goins.
Go down a little bit farther after the gray area.
Teaching is sometimes a thankless job. Lots of long hours and hard work in order to shape our most precious resource.
They serve our children and serve them with grace.
But Breck parents and students want teachers and staff to know that they are appreciated and loved.
Very appreciative of everything they do every day for our children.
I think it's important to honor the time they spend here and the time they spend with our kids.
The year can go by so quickly and we lose track of that gratitude, that sense of gratitude for what we get every day here.
About 30 parent volunteers gathered this morning to sort through 1,200 letters.
750 online and then the rest handwritten.
Like a well-oiled machine, volunteers mobilized.
This is the bus transportation department, so thank you for being my bus driver and getting me to school safely and home each day.
Tying ribbons and adding other goodies to the notes of thanks.
We're going to band it and put a Hershey's bar in each one.
The letters themselves were touching, conveying gratitude, respect, and admiration.
Thank you for being a wonderful teacher and advisor. You keep things fun and funny during class, but you still find a way to teach.
By the way, did I tell you, you are a fantastic teacher.
Shalon Newton read a letter from her 8th grade daughter.
Now I'm on my way to high school, and I will miss you so much.
We've been working really hard to make sure we have every single person that works at Breck accounted for. It's important to let them know that they're appreciated and that we love sending our kids here every day.
The letters were delivered to the dedicated teachers and staff.
Thank you so much.
Honoring those who help children believe in their dreams and achieve them.
We appreciate everything you do. You go above and beyond for all your students every single year, and you're a beautiful person. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
In Golden Valley, Sonia Goins, CCX News.
Staff members were also treated to coffee and baked goods. For about the past 20 years, Breck has made an event out of honoring educators. A great program.
Love it.
Yeah. Still ahead on CCX News, an effort in Brooklyn Park to help those who suffer from arthritis. That's next in Health Check.
Plus, a big comeback leads to a thrilling ending between Totino-Grace and Osseo-Park Center in boys lacrosse.
But first, staying in the 60s on Wednesday.
Welcome back. More than 52 million Americans live with arthritis.
It's a condition that results in joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and decreased range of motion. In this week's Health Check, we highlight a program in Brooklyn Park to help arthritis sufferers live a more comfortable life.
All right, so let's go ahead and put the weight onto our right foot.
Visit any community center or health club.
Very little pressure on that front heel.
And you're bound to find seniors getting in their daily dose of exercise.
So again, tuck under, option of coming to those back toes.
You'll probably also find an instructor guiding the class.
Right heel reaches back.
But this particular class in Brooklyn Park is unique.
Well, we have participants that are coming in that can only walk a couple minutes.
Fitness instructor Christy Walker says every one of these participants suffers from some form of arthritis.
Well, what happens with mine is I just get a real sharp pain on the left side of my knee, and it feels like it's going to go out.
We can hold on.
Margaret Marsh of Maple Grove is one of the people who signed up for Walking with Ease. 3 times a week, she and the rest of the group meet to discuss a health education topic. Then they do a variety of stretches, followed by a 20-minute walk outside.
The hard part is when we have arthritis, there is pain often involved, but that doesn't necessarily mean harm.
The important thing is to keep exercising, even if you have arthritis.
It doesn't matter, what culture or what age. You want to keep walking.
Pat Bush of the city's Parks and Rec Department says this is an evidence-based class made possible by a grant from the National Arthritis Foundation.
We know that some of the class participants wouldn't even be walking if we didn't have this for them.
Brooklyn Park is one of 40 cities across the U.S. to receive this grant. They're 3 weeks into the 6-week class, and so far, the results have been positive.
It's definitely gotten me motivated. I like the exercises they've taught.
Going forward, the hope is that these participants won't let arthritis get in the way of staying fit.
I'm hoping that it will keep me walking through the summer.
This class has a few more weeks to go. The next session begins June 12th and goes through July 20th. It's open to anyone regardless of whether you live in Brooklyn Park. For more information, you can check out the city's website. Still ahead, less than 2 weeks away from a first in the city of Osseo.
But first, the Totino-Grace softball team scores early and often in its game. John Jacobson has the highlights coming up next in sports.
I'm John Jacobson with sports. The Totino-Grace softball team is having an excellent season. The Eagles aimed for their 7th straight win as they played host to Osseo Monday. And the Eagles get started quickly. Maddie Braun with a line drive 3-run homer over the fence in left center field. The Eagles take a 3-0 lead in the bottom of the first inning. Totino looking for more in the second inning. They're already up 6-0 when Lexi Raditich hits a hot shot to shortstop that gets away. Aaron Pepping and Braun both score on the play. And it's 8-0 Grace. Then it's Lindsay Mayo with a solid single to left. Ella Ebensteiner scores, and it's 9-0 after 2. Third inning, Ebensteiner delivers with a drive to the fence in right center field. Braun scores for the 3rd time in the game, and it's an 11-0 game after 3. And Braun, who had that 3-run homer in the first, almost adds another. He has to settle for a 2-run double instead on this play. Mayo and Lauren Cheneman score. The Eagles get 2 or more runs in each of the first 4 innings. Pepping, pitching is sharp and does not allow a run, gets a strikeout to end the game. Totino-Grace is now 12-2 following a 13-0 5-inning win. Near the softball field at Totino-Grace, the Eagles boys lacrosse team hosted the Osseo-Park Center co-op team. And though both teams have struggled this season, this turned into a great game. The all-time series between OPC and Totino-Grace tied 8-8 coming in. Grace plays a good first quarter. Leah Lewis attacks and scores here. It's a sign of things to come for Lewis. Game's tied 1-1 after 1. OPC dominates the second quarter. Damon Lagassen changes directions, fires a shot home for a 3-1 lead for Osseo-Park Center. A minute later, Lagassen does it again, bearing a great shot. He scores 4 goals total. Still in the second quarter, Carter Compton takes the pass, hits the net from a tough angle, and OPC scores 5 straight to take a 6-1 lead into halftime. But Totino-Grace is far from done. Sam Campion gets it to Lewis for his second goal in a 24-second span. The Eagles are within 7-4 after 3, and then with the rain pouring down, Totino-Grace completes its comeback. Lewis scoring his 6th goal tonight, tying it at 8. And then with under a minute to play, Brandon Colas speeds upfield, drops a nice pass to Ryan Tigner, who buries the game winner. Totino-Grace wins for the second time this season, taking a 9-8 thriller over Osseo-Park Center. Ben Grosse was part of a great senior class that helped the Wayzata boys basketball team reach the state tournament for the first time since 1959. But it is in track and field that he really shines. Jason Malillo profiles Ben on this week's Sports Jam show on CCX. Here's part of what you'll see.
Grosse clearly has an enthusiasm for high jumping, and you can tell he relishes the mental and physical challenges that high jumping demands.
It's extremely technical, and just sort of going about it, I mean, like, there's so many things you have to do in a jump to get a perfect jump. I've always been a good jumper as far as just like getting off the ground, but I've never been really a fast jumper, or my technique has never been that great, so a lot of it has been incorporating more speed into my jump, and Coach DeBoer and Coach Geese have done a great job with that, but then also getting my hips up and getting sort of that whole arching your back form, and they've done a great job with that as well. It's been a fun experience with them.
This spring, Grosse is also showcasing his versatility by competing in the long jump and triple jump, as well as some running events.
You can see the rest of that story and more this week on Sports Jam. It airs through Wednesday at 3:30, 6:30, and 9:30 p.m. on CCX channels 12 and 799 and online at ccxmedia.org. As we near the middle part of May, playoff time isn't too far off in boys tennis. Here's a look at this week's state rankings. Minnetonka leads the Class AA rankings, followed by Eastridge, Lakeville South, Edina, and Rochester Century. Wayzata is the lone local AA team in the top 10. The Trojans are number 8. Nikita Snezhko of Armstrong is rated number 2 individually. Blake is ranked number 1 in Class A, with Rochester Lourdes 2nd and Breck rated 3rd. St. Paul Academy and Hibbing round out the top 5. Blake has the top 3 rated individuals, while Breck has the next 3 in the rankings. And what a great day for tennis or any outdoor activity today. That is it for sports. Alex and Delane, back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, John. Up next, the event that could draw big crowds to downtown Osseo.
We'll be right back. Finally, food and fun coming to downtown Osseo.
This week, the Osseo Economic Development Authority discussed funding options for the first ever spring food truck and craft beer event. It's scheduled for Saturday, May 20th on Central Avenue, and the event would include live music. The food would be different. Options, we're told, could include sushi, gourmet, and Southwest fare. The city hopes the event will attract hundreds of people to downtown Osseo. That would be a good get, hopefully on a beautiful day.
Sounds
right?
delicious. I hope that I have that assignment.
Absolutely. That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
We'll see you again here tomorrow at 4.